Where did the universe come from? Why is it made of matter rather than antimatter? What is the dark matter that suffuses the cosmos? How does the Higgs particle itself have mass? Before we got to that last sentence, these sounded like space villains. History is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. CERN, the home of the Large Hadron Collider. This thing has been doing some amazing science for a while now. It has also been a regular recurring star in many conspiracy theories, or stuff like, hey, CERN is creating a black hole, stuff like miniature black holes, or will turning on CERN destroy the Earth? That was a big one, Matt, you remember from our House of Works days. But thanks in part to TikTok, there's a new theory on the block, and you will find tons of people insisting that CERN has actually shifted the timeline, that the world we are living in now has altered in fundamental ways from the world in which we formerly resided. Now, the multiverse as a concept is on everybody's mind. We were into it before Marvel thought it was cool, right? We've all had these really trippy off-air conversations about this. But first, I want to ask, before we dive in, have you guys heard of this? Are you familiar with the CERN conspiracy theory V 2.5 2022 version?
Oh, very much. A lot of people on Clubhouse believe this. At least they say they do. I'm seeing it popping all over the place, like you said, on TikTok. I'm seeing even Instagram, like, reels, just lots of social media posts about it. Like, CERN's gearing back up. You know what that means. We're jumping timelines again. I haven't seen the details, Ben, anywhere. So just what have you heard about what it's supposedly doing?
I only get my news from TikTok, just for the record. So
I only get my news from this old man who lives inside a sewer across the street from me. It's very like It style. I just go over there.
You sit on the back of like note cards and passes them to you. It's amazing.
He's always giggling. Yeah. He's got his ear to the street, literally. But this news sources aside, it is important to know where your sources come from. But the basic thing, this all began, the genesis of this begins when, after 3 years of not being active, CERN is turned on once more. And it's not like it was collecting dust. Those 3 years were spent doing maintenance and putting in a number of upgrades. And when CERN was turned on, it observed 3 exotic particles for the first time. So it's doing significant science. They're looking into stuff like the pentaquark, which is a thing that I was unaware of. And then they're also breaking records for the highest energy particle collisions ever performed. And this, like, a lot of people heard about CERN in the conversation of the so-called God particle, right? And now it's back in the news, as he said, propagated by social media. I wanted to read you guys some of the some of the thoughts. Here's one from Twitter. Quote, so nobody else is concerned that the CERN collider will be turning on July 5th and opening up a portal and letting some dark-sided beep come through? And then someone else says, July 5, CERN, it's time to get right with God and protect your energy. Hashtag CERN, just to really drive it home. And then on July 5th, we'll be feeling a sudden shift in the universe. It will feel like we've changed timelines. Do your research about CERN. If you think things have been weird, it's about to feel even weirder. Protect your energy at all costs from negative beep. Meditate. That one ends with meditate. Let's see. I'll do the last one here. Anticipating the activation of CERN got me feeling some type of way. The blank gives you the right to be opening portals and blank. Isn't 2022 crazy enough? Sheesh. So what do you guys think? Has that changed your mind?
So my only thing is, what what is? I don't understand the assertion that shooting particles, at very high speeds, like you said, the highest speeds that we've ever done that, shooting them faster than we ever had before, and colliding them for research. Where does that translate into creating a portal? Is it people's like visualization of portals in video games and fiction, like movies, where the portals are this kind of like oval shaped thing, and they're just imagining that high energy particles doing that will open some kind of portal?
Clearly, you're not up to date on Stranger Things. They explain all the science in the new season. I mean, it's all right there. No, they definitely don't.
Yeah, that's
fun show though.
I mean, it's a good question, and yeah, fun show. It's a good question too, Matt, and it's one that you're applying some much needed critical thought to this aspect. First, yes, CERN is doing new science. People have not done this before, so it is highly likely that new unexpected things will happen. The question is whether those things will be disastrous or apocalyptic. And the answer, as we found every time we look into this over the years, the answer is no, right? Basically, the answer is that if the world ends, it won't be because of CERN. And based on the conversations we've had with scientists, based on the papers we've read and the research we've done, a lot of the quote unquote danger of CERN has been overblown. But what stood out to me is, one, there's not a ton of in-depth explanation about how this parallel universe timeline theory would work. But there's also, when I first started looking at it, there wasn't a ton of explanation about why July 5th. Why July 5th, right? My old man's birthday, by the way. So he loved this because he was like, ooh, it involves me somehow. Well, I think you should look into it. And I'm kidding. But it all goes back to a post about a portal of astrological proportions. The original post is something like, be ready for July 5th, everyone. That's all I'm saying. Protect your energy. Be alert. Don't do things that lower your vibration, your energy, or your focus. CERN will be opening a portal on July 5th. They began getting it ready when the planets aligned on June 24th. Does that persuade?
So wait, so this is an intentional portal opening, is the conjecture here? Yeah?
Yeah, because the stars
to
are
what
right.
end?
Shades of Lovecraft.
They just want to watch the world burn or get sucked into a black hole? Like, I don't understand these CERN fellas, what they're up to.
Yeah, it's not really explained, and a lot of the people who are reporting on this theory or purporting to believe it are in disagreement themselves. There's some folks on YouTube who are saying this is a portal to hell, and then you can find lectures about astrology, et cetera, et cetera. But I would ask how many people genuinely believe this, and here's why. TikTok is a heavily competitive social media environment, which is the most corporate thing I've said today, but it's true. And if you want to succeed, quote unquote, succeed in an environment like TikTok, then you want a video to be shared and viewed many, many times, which means you want to nail something in the zeitgeist. So I ask this question to myself pretty often on social media. When you see a trend of a conversation and it seems like something a lot of people are believing that's kind of easy to debunk, then you have to ask yourself about their motivations. Are they posting this because they want to tell you the truth about CERN or the flat earth or insert here? Or do they want eyeballs and clicks? What would you pretend to believe for millions of views?
Well, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, and all of that feels very real to me as a motivation for some. But for others, I think it's just fear about this thing that a very select few number of people ever go to, ever work on, even understand the science behind. And it is, I mean, there's been actual reporting from CERN itself. They make statements. Do you remember back in the day, Ben, when the LHC was first becoming a thing and they put out statements about microscopic black holes? That was one of the big talking points. Everybody was worried about the black holes that this thing is going to create. And they had to come forward and explain, like, it's very unlikely that this collider will create black holes, microscopic black holes. But if it does, here's the science behind a black hole of that size, because of the actual energies that are being produced here, or that the protons contain that are being shot together. And they had to talk people out of a fear quite adamantly, I guess.
Yeah, and it's understandable. It's a rational fear to have, and a lot of it goes back to the way science is reported to the public, right? What makes a headline that elicits an emotion? What compels people to read from one sentence to the next, and so on and so on. But this does a disservice because this it encourages, again, a very rational fear to expand, and it doesn't seek to check that fear, right? Because redactions and corrections always run at the back of the paper, never on the front, never where you see the headline. So I know that people are coming from an honest place here, and I want to agree in part with this because we are, civilization is forging into unknown territory, and CERN itself phrases things in really interesting, intriguing ways. For example, their current run, which is scheduled to run through 2025, is trying to answer several questions. The Times characterized their questions this way: where did the universe come from? Why is it made of matter rather than antimatter? What is the dark matter that suffuses the cosmos? How does the Higgs particle itself have mass? Before we got to that last sentence, these sounded like space villains.
You have seen Stranger Things season 4. Or at least that person has. This is wild.
Yeah. And of course, we want to visit CERN. I would love to check it out.
Yeah, my God.
But also, I
Particle.
think,
Do they give tours?
There it is.
Surely you have to be credentialed.
We could maybe have some pull. We could try, pulling some strings, see if we have any juice at CERN, or suction, as they say. But there's another bigger thing at play here, which is just in general the concept of reality. I think that's become an ingredient of the current fear and theories, because the idea of multiple realities is increasingly in the zeitgeist, at least in our version of reality. The Mandela effect, it's something I get questions about increasingly every single month, right? Marvel movies, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was an awesome ride. They explore the idea of multiverses. Various religions have explored concepts like this as well on a spiritual tip. And you have to wonder why people are searching for that kind of, why it's like the search for the soul, right? The more you learn about the human body, the less likely it seems there is a soul. But the idea that people continue doing that is, in a way, it's kind of proof of something like a soul. It makes that search even more compelling and strange. So why are people right now obsessed with multiple universes? Do you guys think it's just that everyone's had a really rough 2 years? Do you think it's just the Marvel effect? What is it?
I think it's always been an interesting plot device. Well, that's a good point. We're reaching critical mass, perhaps. But I mean,
yeah, this is a shit tornado, boys.
But I mean, Matt, you're into the Invisibles and a lot of the weirdo kind of alternative comics and stuff. And Ben, I know you are too. We all are. But I mean, that's always been an interesting plot point in books like that. is alternate universes and alternate dimensions and traveling to, you know, places where there's like bizarro world versions of yourself, or hell, even like Back to the Future. You could consider time travel being like alternate timelines. I think it's kind of just part of our upbringing, you know, pop culturally speaking.
Well, yeah, and we're simultaneously the most connected we've ever been, or
And the
feel
least.
like we're the most connected we've ever been to everyone, and the absolute least physically
You're
connected.
so
to
right,
anyone.
dude. You're so right.
So, and then when, you know, all this, like this terrifying stuff is happening around us and on the horizon, it always feels like something new and awful is on the way that just kind of piles on top of the last thing. It's just our anxiety is at maximum right now, I think.